What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another DC Universe trailer breakdown and reaction. And that DCU for James Gunn keeps getting bigger, but the Clayface poster and trailer the other day came out at CinemaCon, and we weren't sure if it was going to get released to the public. But out of all of the stuff that was shown at CinemaCon, it seems like Clayface is the first trailer that's getting shown to the public here. And it's only about a minute, so I think it's more like a teaser trailer. But you can see the poster here looks awfully creepy with like this stretched out face, and almost looks like that one scene, his like mouth looks like that one scene from Matrix with Keanu Reeves, and like his mouth is sewn shut and he's like, you know, like creepy. But October 23rd is when this is coming to theaters, so luckily for me, it's a creepier movie, it's a spookier movie, so Halloween time, it feels like the perfect time of year for this movie to drop. But James Gunn also confirmed just before I started recording here that Clayface is the first DCU film out of chronological order, right? So Superman, Peacemaker, Supergirl, all of those are set in order, but it looks like Clayface is set before the events of Superman, which I found quite interesting. So it doesn't necessarily have to have a Superman or a Batman show up in the background, you know? Like, this could be before all of that nonsense, you know what I mean? Some of the promo art that they were releasing before this looked real creepy, with like the pictures of like the magazine cover of Matt Hagen, and all of a sudden his face starts like melting away, like very creepy. I was like, what is going on here, and why are they trying to scare me? So it looks like the DCU, as I understand it so far, will be Clayface, and then it was Superman, which was the first thing, and then Peacemaker Season 2, and then Supergirl, that's coming out very soon, I believe, what, end of June? And then we have Lanterns coming after Supergirl, which I believe will be set, you know, after Supergirl, and that will be coming in August, I believe. So more fun DCU stuff to be talking about in the future, and breakdowns for that coming to the channel then. But let's start breaking down this Clayface trailer and see what kind of stuff we're noticing. And anybody that's like squeamish or doesn't like creepy stuff or doesn't like eyeballs or weird blood or anything like that, anything body horror stuff, step away now. I mean, this isn't even my type of thing, but you know, I'm gonna give you my honest raw reaction here on how much this Clayface trailer creeps me out. But let's jump on into it, shall we? So creepy, as this like weird haunting version of Do You Realize by the Flaming Lips. Do you realize that you have the most beautiful face? But like, it's haunting the way that they're seeing it, and they're just like slowly punching in on Matt Hagen, who I believe is the actor in the movie, but Tom Rhys-Harries is the actor himself. So like, Matt Hagen, the character, is wrapped up, bloody and bandaged in the hospital, but has one eye just staring directly into camera as we keep just getting tighter and tighter on him. But then they cut to various shots of like him as a young, handsome actor with like the blonde hair and his chiseled jaw, and like, he's a very handsome man, but if he's gonna look all fucked up and bloody and mummified the whole movie, it's gonna be creepy. But you know, it also cuts to him at a premiere for something called The Light, so maybe The Lighthouse or something, but you can see it on the marquee behind him there. But yeah, then it just punches in on the hospital bed again, and then shows a shot of somebody with a blade cutting his face from like his eyeball down to his mouth. What is happening there? Is this how he becomes Clayface? Maybe he was getting facial surgery or something? He looks like he's getting held down and while they're doing this, so like somebody's forcing him into facial surgery, or maybe he was like a Brad Pitt most handsome actor there was, and some guys grabbed him and cut his face so that he can't be an actor anymore. That would be devastating, but my goodness. And then like, they just keep creepily punching in on this guy's face, and then we see shots of him with like this plastic clear mask over his face, like it's holding his face in place. Like, oh, like imagine you become clay, and like your first instinct is like, you know, what's going on? And then you touch your face and then it just starts moving and you're like, oh my god, and then you don't know how to make it sturdy clay, you know what I mean? So like, I bet at first he's just like liquid clay, and then he has to learn how to use his powers to like make solid objects out of that clay, you know what I mean? But the weird plastic mask is just creepy, and oh god, it looks so gross. But then they just keep punching in closer and closer on this guy's face, like, stop it, stop showing me this poor hospitalized man, like, ugh. But on to the next portion of this trailer. Oh my goodness. Look fear in the face, they say. Oh, but at the start of that clip there, we see some type of purple vial injecting maybe into his eyeball. Oh, I hate eyeball stuff. So this movie's gonna creep me out. But we see like some, you know, blood being drained from him or something, and maybe this is after he's Clayface, and maybe they're running tests on him, or maybe this is how he becomes Clayface, and it looks like they're under a microscope looking at his like DNA, as we see more shots of that poor guy in the hospital bed, and then we see shots of Tom Rhys-Harris, freaking Matt Hagen there, looking in a window of some place, and then it like creepily cuts to his face like drooping like clay. Like, oh, and it looks so real, so they must have done real prosthetics to accomplish this, and I think this is going to return to like one of those 70s, 80s body horror movies where they got it done with all practical effects. Like, I don't think there's going to be much CGI in this film, and if there is, it will be stuff that like they're making it look excessively creepy, like, my goodness. But just that shot of that guy's face like stuck like that is so creepy, but like, you feel for the guy too, because then you cut back to him all bloodied in a hospital. I wonder if this, you know, masked person in the hospital is even the same guy, you know, like how, or like when is he wrapped up like this? Before he becomes Clayface? After he becomes Clayface and somebody beats him up brutally? You know, what happens that he ends up in the hospital like this and mummified, and he looks so sad as they punch closer and closer into his eye. But then we see Matt Hagen running down an alley in a black suit, and then we see it like his mouth is fused shut like Neo in the Matrix, or like that poor bastard that Wanda did dirty in Multiverse of Madness. Oh. But then we see shots of him going to like the circus, and there's like a clown that's lit red and then changes to green light behind him. So maybe the Joker or something is in this universe, causing problems, causing crime. It looks like maybe a lady friend is walking down this creepy alley tunnel thing. But then it says, look, and then we see shots of what has to be his clay. So maybe like he was at a crime scene and somebody chopped off his arm, but like, you know, he can grow it back with clay, but maybe that part that got chopped off left a little clay sample, and maybe that's what they're doing with it here, and they're like trying to test it with like noises and shit, but they can see it like moving into different shapes. So like maybe the Clayface that he isn't his DNA. Maybe it's like a Venom symbiote type of thing that's like hooked into his nervous system. Like maybe the clay is alive, you know, like that's kind of interesting in my mind at least, but also just creepy shots, man. Like that even that shot of clay doesn't necessarily make me feel good. It makes me feel uneasy, you know, like, ugh. But look fear in the face as we see him walking around a spiral staircase, and then yeah, look fear, and then he looks himself in the mirror that looks like maybe on an airplane, and it looks like his eyes are all messed up, so like he's trying to see, but then his eye just starts like moving in the clay on his face. Like, oh, this poor guy is gonna be terrible. Like, and this woman's like screaming at him, and look fear in the face, and we see shots of like a tugboat or something pulling up to what has to be Gotham Harbor. Interesting, the way that Gotham looks as a city during the daylight, which is looks kind of similar, but maybe a different type of city than the one that was in Robert Pattinson's The Batman. But yeah, Matt Hagen's out on the street, and look fear in the face, and he's like gets stabbed by somebody up against a fence, or he's hurting somebody maybe, or somebody's fish hooking his face, or that's just a different guy entirely, just a weird shot. And then he looks like he's with that lady friend and they're like locking hands, but I wonder if like his clay hand is just gonna like overtake hers or just like go right through it or something. But it ends with him screaming at himself in the mirror as it says, "Look fear in the face." So what a good tagline for Clayface. Look fear in the face. Like, oh. But there's only one little section of trailer left, so why don't we finish this bad boy out? Oh boy, October 23rd, Clayface from, I believe, writer Mike Flanagan? I could be wrong, but I think this is James Watkins directing. But at the last little bit of that trailer, he's screaming at himself in the mirror, and he punches it. And then there's like another shot of a guy with a bloody nose. Maybe that's still Matt Hagen, maybe that's a different character, but he's like looking up like something's possessing him maybe, or something's attacking his cerebral cortex. We see him running past Gotham police cars, or like, you know, hustling past. We then see in the shadows a spiky hand, which reminds me of like Clayface from the animated cartoons. And like as gross as Clayface is a character, like even in Creature Commandos, the first season, Clayface, as creepy and gross as he is, he can be a formidable threat and a very good villain, right? And he's hard to kill, right? Like, they electrocute him to death, and it sounds like Clayface is still alive, you know? So he's got like that spiky hand, he's got like a block hand too in this other image, but like, it looks like we will be getting a spiky hand Clayface in this movie in an alley. So maybe Matt Hagen friggin' is spiking somebody to death. Like, that's cruel, but kind of cool at the same time. And it looks like that little spike ball comes down on somebody in a different shot as he's like holding somebody at knife point. He gets thrown out a window, that woman screaming, and we see the axe ball come down, and then it cuts to black and we see him in a bathtub, and you know, it comes in on him. We see Matt Hagen just sitting there in the bathtub, and then he creepily cuts real fast and wipes his face, and it smears the clay all over his face, which it has to be just the creepiest feeling. But then this was something that Jenna Anderson from Phase Hero pointed out last night about this shot. And when you see the tub from the side and he's coming up to it, it doesn't look like a white porcelain tub. It looks like the color of clay. So she thinks Clayface made the tub out of like his own body, and then he's laying in himself, like, and that's such a interesting idea, but it sounds correct. Now I can't unsee it, like, because the color of the tub, maybe in like just the way that his body looks in the tub, like maybe he is making the tub out of himself, and then he's just like crying in this tub, and then he like wipes the clay down his face, and it's such a creepy shot, but it's also so fascinating, and I can't take my eyes off of it. But creeped out either way, as then they end with Clayface in the title card in all red, but the red clay is like drooping. Oh God, I can't wait to see this. I don't know why, because I'm not a body horror guy, but because I think it's in the DCU, it's got my interest. And then the hype around the script, the hype around filming it, people were like here for this. And everything that I've seen from it, including this trailer, as creepy as it looks fascinating. And like, what if they do end up tying this into Pattinson's Batman and it's an Elseworld thing? But even if it's not, and it's set before Superman, maybe at the end of this movie you see Clayface becoming like a supervillain, and you see him like look out the window and see Superman and all these heroes, and he gets angry and he goes, "Nah, I ain't gonna be a hero," and that's like credits on the movie or something. Like, I don't know. Like, if Clayface is in the DCU, that's sick. And if this is the same Clayface from Creature Commandos, that's also sick. But we're going to get like a prequel to like how he became that guy. So, I don't know. I really don't know if that's like how Clayface, like, are we gonna see Matt Hagen as Clayface, or are we just gonna see like the cartoon Clayface, and like the way that the cartoon Clayface always creeped me out, but he always just looked like a pile of mud, like liquid mud that got formed into a human, you know? So I don't know, comment below your thoughts, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, especially of like what James Gunn's DCU has been so far. Like, what were your thoughts on Superman, and then going into, or I guess even before that, Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker Season 2. We're gonna get Supergirl very soon, so we'll all have our thoughts about that. Lanterns in the summer, and then it looks like we're gonna have Clayface October. So I am totally here for Matt Hagen and what's his name, Tom Rhys-Harries as this character, and he looks like a beautiful young man, and it looks like they're going to ruin his beauty in this movie and absolutely make him look as disgusting as possible. And I hope it's not something that, like, when I'm watching it in theaters, it's making my stomach churn. I hope it's something that, like, I'm just like interested in what's happening and I'm not like grossed out. But it is what it is, you know. That's kind of what body horror stuff is, you know. If you guys saw The Substance a couple years ago, that movie, I had to stop halfway through because I was physically going to get sick because of how gross I thought some of the stuff was. And then I had to finish it the next day, still almost throwing up, and had to have a bucket near me just in case. But like, it doesn't mean the movie wasn't great. Like, Substance has a great message and a great story in it, and it's like a good movie, but it's body horror and it's gross, you know? So like, shit happens, you know? I guess that's my preference on it, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Clayface. Are you feeling grossed out, or are you feeling intrigued, you know? Like, what other feelings did this give you? And also, do you find it interesting that this is set before Superman, and this will like be the opening project of the James Gunn's DCU, at least chronologically for the moment? That doesn't mean James Gunn can't make another film set in the past. Like, what if he goes and does The Authority but sets it in like 1800, you know, and then you see like the early days of the Hall of Justice or whatnot. I don't know. He can do whatever he wants. It's his universe, you know? Like, I think he's just doing really interesting character-driven projects, and like, he made Superman interesting as a person. He made Peacemaker a fascinating hero, but also kind of an anti-hero. But like, I still want to see what happens to bored John Cena at the end of season 2, you know, like, I gotta have another season of Peacemaker, but also like, they're already making Man of Tomorrow, the next Superman, so you know, we're gonna have a bunch of characters back for that. But I'm hoping they do like a Terrifics. Like, I want to see more of Mr. Terrific and that Justice Gang. I'm hoping that Lanterns really friggin' kicks ass. I'm hoping Supergirl kicks ass, and I'm sure both of those projects will. But I'm optimistic at the moment, you know. But I'm also a little pessimistic. I'm like, I'm nervous that these things aren't gonna be well, and it's gonna get canceled on James Gunn, and we won't be able to see his future projects, you know what I mean? Especially if that Warner Brothers Paramount merger goes through. Like, I don't know, it's messy over there these days, but so is Marvel, you know? They're both messy, and I would like just to get back to the point where we're watching movies and enjoying them, and nobody's just being assholes online for the sake of it. But that might be wishful thinking. I think people are always going to try to be assholes online, but at least over on this channel, I got about 99% people that comment on these videos are super friggin' cool, insightful. There are people all over the world. Some people speak in Spanish, Portuguese, Brazilian, like whatever. The commenters from all over the place, and I answer all my comments, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about Clayface down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the state of the DC universe at the moment, and are you happy with it, or do you want to see some things change, or do you think James Gunn should get canceled and we're back to the Snyderverse? And oh boy, those Snyder boys, we know where you're at. We can always find you out of a crowd. But that's it from me, y'all. Thank you for joining me with another DC trailer breakdown, and I hope everybody enjoyed this trailer breakdown. And I think I noticed everything in this trailer that they had to offer, but if I missed any shots, please send me those messages down in the comment section below. Inform me what I missed, or send me those thoughts on my other social medias. Links for those down in the description below. But if you've made it this far and you'd like to support the channel, the best way of doing that is dropping a like, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss future DC trailer reactions, and you'll get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name's Big Cam. Thank you guys so much for dropping on by, and I'll see you gorgeous folks in the next one. Peace.